Dean Martin wasn't just the king of cool, he was the smooth-talking Rat Pack legend who made the world believe he had it all: charm, talent, and a life lived on his own terms. But behind the tuxedos, the cocktails, and the effortless smile, rumors swirled for decades. Was he really the carefree bachelor the public adored, the devoted family man his children knew, or someone far more complicated? Now, at 77, his daughter Deanna Martin is breaking her silence, revealing the truth about her father's private life. And what she confesses doesn't just confirm long-standing whispers, it changes the way the world remembers Dean Martin. The truth about Dean Martin will forever change the way you see this Hollywood legend. Known as the King of Cool, Dean Martin wasn't born into fame or fortune. He entered the world on June 7, 1917, in the small steel town of Steubenville, Ohio, as Dino Paul Crocetti. From those modest beginnings, he carved a path that would transform him into one of the most beloved entertainers of the 20th century. But before the bright lights and roaring applause, Martin's life was defined by grit and survival. He hustled through odd jobs, testing himself in ways that would sharpen both his charm and his toughness. As a young man, he worked as a club croupier, learning how to read people and thrive under pressure. He even stepped into the boxing ring, where every punch thrown taught him discipline, resilience, and the fearless spirit that would later define his presence on stage and screen. While grinding through those early years, Martin found his true calling in music. Singing in small neighborhood clubs, he began shaping the silky, effortless voice that would one day melt hearts around the world. These nights on smoky stages weren't just performances, they were training grounds, sharpening his charm, confidence, and ability to hold an audience in the palm of his hand. Every job, every struggle, every note sung reflected a man with relentless drive and ambition. Dean wasn't just working for survival, he was building the foundation of a legend. Then, in 1946, fate intervened. When Martin teamed up with a brash young comic named Jerry Lewis, the two created an explosive act that would take America by storm. Overnight, Martin and Lewis became the hottest comedy duo in show business, and Dean Martin's journey from small-town obscurity to Hollywood stardom truly began. This collaboration quickly became a cultural sensation. The blend of Martin's relaxed charm, musical prowess, and smooth vocals with Lewis's quirky, energetic, comedic flair captivated audiences nationwide. They swiftly rose to prominence in vaudeville and later in film, performing live shows and starring in movies that garnered them widespread fame. Their chemistry was unmistakable, with each performer bouncing off the other in ways that felt both spontaneous and carefully choreographed. The duo's charm stemmed from their contrasting styles. Martin's composed and self-assured demeanor complemented Lewis's wild and erratic antics, creating a dynamic that audiences found utterly captivating. Throughout their decade-long partnership, Martin and Lewis enjoyed rapid success, headlining performances, selling out theaters, and receiving critical praise for their films. However, behind the curtain, tensions began to surface. Diverging ambitions, creative differences, and personal approaches to the entertainment industry ultimately led to a bitter breakup in 1956. Despite the difficulties of their separation, this split marked a fresh start for Dean Martin, enabling him to embark on a solo career that would showcase the full range of his talents as both a singer and an actor, while also allowing him to cultivate a distinctive and lasting public image. Following his split from Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin's solo career skyrocketed almost instantly, showcasing his adaptability and versatility across various entertainment platforms. He smoothly transitioned from being part of a comedic duo to emerging as a star in his own right, demonstrating that his appeal extended far beyond his partnership with Lewis. In the 1960s, Martin became a member of the iconic Rat Pack, which featured legends like Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and others, further cementing his status as a key figure in American entertainment. The spotlight of the 1960s shone brightest in Las Vegas, and no one owned that stage quite like Dean Martin. Night after night, his easy charm, quick wit, and velvet-smooth voice hypnotized audiences, leaving them hanging on every word and every note. He wasn't just performing, he was redefining cool. As a central figure of the Rat Pack, Martin helped craft a cultural revolution that blended music, comedy, and swagger into a spectacle the world had never seen. Together with Sinatra, Davis, and the rest, he turned camaraderie into a show of its own, elevating the group into an era-defining phenomenon. Yet through all the laughter and late nights, Dean remained distinctly himself, the effortlessly magnetic star who could command a crowd without ever breaking a sweat. His stardom only grew as he stepped into America's living rooms with the Dean Martin Show from 1965 to 1974. More than just another variety program, it became a weekly event. Viewers tuned in by the millions to watch Martin glide through comedy sketches, banter with celebrity guests, and serenade audiences with that unmistakable voice. He made it look effortless, as though he wasn't hosting a show but inviting the world into his living room. And in doing so, Dean Martin didn't just entertain America, he became part of its cultural heartbeat. The runaway success of the Dean Martin Show didn't just entertain audiences, it cemented Martin's place as one of America's most beloved icons. Week after week, he proved that his charm wasn't an act, but a reflection of who he truly was, approachable, confident, and endlessly magnetic. These qualities made viewers feel as though they knew him personally, binding him to fans across generations. But when the curtain fell on his variety show, Dean wasn't finished. In 1974, he returned with a new venture, the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast. For the next decade, he presided over television's most legendary gatherings, where the biggest stars of the era were celebrated, teased, and hilariously roasted. With his razor-sharp timing and effortless cool, Martin guided audiences through nights of outrageous comedy while still honoring his peers with genuine warmth and respect. These roasts became more than entertainment, they became cultural landmarks. They captured the spirit of 1970s and early 80s television, reminding audiences that comedy could be both bold and classy. And at the center of it all was Dean, the unshakable host who made every joke land and every moment sparkle. Even as television tastes shifted, Dean Martin remained untouchable. Through the 1980s and 1990s, he kept performing, recording music, and making appearances that reminded the world his star power hadn't dimmed. His adaptability, his humor, and his ability to connect never faded, qualities that had defined his career since the very beginning, and ensured that his legacy would endure long after the spotlight dimmed. Even with the emergence of new trends in the entertainment sector, he upheld his unique style, blending smooth vocal performances with humor and a relaxed on-stage demeanor that remained effortlessly captivating. Regardless of the changes in popular culture, Martin's performances preserved the traits that had consistently contributed to his success: charisma, timing, and the knack for making audiences feel a personal connection to him. His ongoing efforts throughout these decades highlighted not just his talent but also his resilience and commitment to his craft, demonstrating that he was an entertainer capable of adapting while staying true to his distinctive style. Whether he was performing at concerts, recording albums, or featuring in television specials, Martin consistently provided performances that showcased both professionalism and a sincere passion for entertaining others. His lasting career stood as a testament to the blend of skill, dedication, and audience rapport necessary for enduring success in the entertainment industry. Dean Martin's controversies behind the cool. Dean Martin's career was renowned for its charm, versatility, and lasting appeal. However, like many legendary figures, it was not without its share of controversies and obstacles. The first significant point of conflict in his career arose with the dissolution of the iconic comedy duo Martin and Lewis in 1956. While Martin and Lewis had reached remarkable heights as a pair, the breakup was contentious and characterized by public strife. Fans and audiences were taken aback, as the duo had been viewed as inseparable both on stage and off. The factors leading to their separation were intricate, involving creative disagreements, personal aspirations, and tensions in their professional relationship. Despite the public fallout, this split ultimately allowed Dean Martin to carve out his own path as a solo performer, where he could fully delve into his musical and comedic abilities without compromise. The shadow of Dean Martin's split with Jerry Lewis lingered long after their final bow, shaping how Hollywood and the public viewed both men. But controversy was never far from Dean's orbit. By 1966, a new storm erupted, this time not on stage, but inside the legendary Polo Lounge in Beverly Hills. What began as a night among friends spiraled into chaos when Martin and Rat Pack partner Frank Sinatra became embroiled in a heated altercation. The confrontation escalated so violently that a wealthy bystander was left seriously injured. The incident became front-page news, feeding tabloids with the reminder that even Hollywood's most polished stars could be drawn into scandal. For a man known as the King of Cool, the brawl cracked his laid-back image, showing that beneath the tuxedoed charm was a temper capable of explosive moments. And this wasn't the only time Martin's offstage words or actions landed him in controversy. In 1964, during a live broadcast, he openly mocked the Rolling Stones, a band that embodied the rebellious new wave of music culture. To many, his remarks felt dismissive, even out of touch with the rising spirit of youth rebellion. Bob Dylan himself weighed in, sparking a media firestorm that showed just how far Martin's influence reached. Even a passing quip from him could ignite cultural debate across generations. Yet, for all the controversies, Martin also proved his character in moments that revealed his depth of loyalty and principle. In 1961, he stunned Washington insiders by refusing to attend President John F. Kennedy's glamorous inauguration. His reason? Protest. His close friend Sammy Davis Jr., a black entertainer who had openly supported Kennedy, was excluded from the event because of his race. While others basked in the spotlight of history, Martin quietly walked away, showing that loyalty and integrity meant more to him than rubbing elbows with power. These moments, the brawls, the backlash, the bold stands, painted a fuller picture of Dean Martin. He wasn't just the easygoing crooner with a glass in hand, he was a man of contradictions. Flawed, fearless, and unwilling to bend when it came to the people he cared about most. In a time when America was wrestling with the question of civil rights, Dean Martin's quiet refusal to attend President Kennedy's inauguration spoke volumes. It was a bold act of loyalty, one that risked his reputation but revealed the integrity behind the entertainer's smile. For Martin, friendship and principle mattered more than political prestige. That sense of legacy did not end with him. His daughter, Deanna Martin, carried it forward. Born August 19, 1948, in New York City, she entered the world already surrounded by music, laughter, and the bright lights of show business. As the daughter of Dean Martin and Betty McDonald, she grew up watching firsthand the artistry and discipline that made her father a legend. She saw the charm that could captivate millions and the work it took to keep audiences under a spell. But with privilege came challenge. Deanna was more than Dean's daughter, she needed to carve her own path in an industry where expectations were sky-high and competition was unforgiving. By the 1960s, she was ready to step into the spotlight, determined to build her own identity while honoring the legacy she inherited. Her early appearances on the Dean Martin Show gave her both visibility and experience, as she learned how to command the stage under the guidance of her father's example. In 1966, she officially made her television debut on the program, performing alongside some of the biggest stars of the era. It was a defining moment, the start of her own journey as an entertainer in her own right. 3 years later, she expanded her career into film with a role in Young Billy Young, 1969, sharing the screen with icons Robert Mitchum and Angie Dickinson. It was more than a debut, it was proof that she had the talent and presence to hold her own among Hollywood's finest. Through the 1970s and 1980s, Deanna continued to push forward, taking on roles in films like Strangers at Sunrise and A Voice in the Night. Her career was a testament not just to inheritance, but to hard work. She absorbed the lessons of her father's craft, timing, charm, discipline, and shaped them into her own brand of artistry, ensuring that the Martin legacy lived on in new and powerful ways. Her ability to combine work in many genres while retaining a polished demeanor and charisma that audiences found appealing was demonstrated by these undertakings, which demonstrated her versatility and adaptability as an entertainer. The Martin showed that her talent went beyond her family name by progressively advancing her career in both television and movies. This allowed her to forge a route that respected her background while also showcasing her own skills and goals. Memories Are Made of This, Deana Martin's debut album, marked her official entry into the music recording industry in 2006. With covers of some of Dean Martin's most well-known songs and a duet with Jerry Lewis, the CD honored her father's musical heritage and re-established a connection with a key player in his career. Through this initiative, she was able to celebrate her inherited cultural background and showcase her voice abilities. Her debut as an artist who could authentically and emotionally reinterpret classic American songs was marked by this accomplishment, which was both a personal and professional statement. By fusing nostalgia with her own style, De Martin paid tribute to her father while also starting to forge an own musical identity. The Billboard Heatseekers chart debuted Diana's 2009 single, Volare, at number 7. An important turning point was the album's popularity, which demonstrated that she had a big fan base and could attract new listeners while preserving the grace and allure of her family's tradition. Technical mastery, emotional nuance, and reverence for the musical traditions that influenced her early life were all evident in her recordings. Building on this success, she produced her first holiday album, White Christmas, in 2011, which included a duet with Andy Williams. Working with a fellow performer who had also had an impact on American music, the endeavor gave her the opportunity to experiment with the holiday music genre. This proved her capacity to broaden her repertoire, connect with new listeners, and while honoring traditional standards. Dina's 2013 album Destination Moon included an unexpected duet with her father on the song, True Love. This partnership enabled her to produce something wholly original while showcasing Dean Martin's ongoing impact on her career. The project combined her particular artistic vision with nostalgia, bridging the past and present. She then went on to release Swing Street in 2016, an album honoring the swing era and vintage American tunes. Dina Martin continuously showed her dedication to upholding and honoring the legacy of American music while claiming her own creative voice through these musical endeavors. She was able to appeal to both devoted followers and new audiences with each album, which demonstrated her vocal prowess, interpretive abilities, and awareness of the emotional resonance of the songs she selected. In addition to her accomplishments in her career, Dina Martin has led a happy personal life. On their 25th wedding anniversary in 2015, she and her husband, John Griffith, reaffirmed their vows. Her dedication to family and interpersonal ties, which had been ingrained in her during her upbringing in Dean Martin's home, was demonstrated by this celebration. Her emphasis on personal achievements in addition to professional ones presents a picture of a lady who strikes a balance between work, family, and personal fulfillment, a balance that her father frequently demonstrated in spite of the demands of celebrity. Dina Martin has branched out into radio in addition to her acting and music careers. She has been hosting Dean and Dina Martin's Nightcap on WABC 770 AM in New York since 2021, which gives her the opportunity to interact with viewers in a fresh and interesting way. She reflects on her family's past and the larger history of American entertainment while sharing her experience, musical knowledge, and conversational abilities through this program. In addition to preserving and honoring Dean Martin's legacy, hosting the show allows her to stay in close contact with listeners and further develop her own reputation. The performance showcases a lifetime of experience in the entertainment industry and demonstrates her adaptability to changing media landscapes. The debate around De Martin. After a long career in entertainment, Dina Martin has not only used music, movies, and television to honor her father's legacy, but she has also dealt with the difficulties and scandals that come with being in the spotlight. Her commitment to conserving Dean Martin's work has periodically come up in discussions about contemporary culture, highlighting the difficulties in striking a balance between tradition and changing social mores. She has spent a large portion of her career celebrating her father's accomplishments to entertainment, but she has also had to deal with the changing social scene, media attention, and public opinion. These difficulties serve as a reminder that people with supposedly inviolable legacies are not immune to public discussion and that handling these situations calls for tact and bravery. Diana's experiences highlight how, for children of famous people, personal history, public expectations, and cultural commentary frequently come together to create a special space where legacy and current relevance must coexist. The well-known holiday song Baby, It's Cold Outside serves as a noteworthy illustration of this relationship. The song, which was composed in 1944 and popularized by Dean Martin in 1959, was heavily criticized decades later because some listeners believed that its lyrics encouraged improper behavior or reflected outmoded gender roles. De Martin defended the song in 2018 as the public debate surrounding it grew more heated. She was shocked by the outcry, calling the topic crazy, and stressing that the song was meant to be a playful, flirty holiday duet rather than something sinister. Her answer brought attention to her awareness of the historical setting in which the song was composed, acknowledging that mid-century social mores were far different from modern expectations of behavior and consent. By expressing this viewpoint, she acknowledged the contemporary prism through which the song was being analyzed while allowing listeners to view it as a product of its era. As a steward of her father's creative legacy, she defended the song in a way that was both personal and professional, indicating her readiness to participate intelligently in divisive cultural discussions. Dana Martin's participation in the defense of Baby, It's Cold Outside serves as an example of how public personalities can get entangled in more general discussions concerning art, culture, and historical interpretation. She reaffirmed her position as a guardian of her father's work and an educated observer of how cultural interpretations can change over time by openly addressing the controversy. In addition to valuing her father's legacy, her remarks showed that she is aware of the difficulties of public conversation in the digital age, where viewpoints are frequently magnified and arguments over interpretation may easily get heated. This example shows how children of renowned artists must strike a balance between honoring the past and negotiating the demands and sensitivities of the present. Dina Martin has handled controversies in the commercial sector in addition to cultural disputes, demonstrating that difficulties in the public eye are not just found in the entertainment industry. A sexual harassment and retaliation lawsuit was made in 2010 by a former employee of Baiga Wholesale, a business that Diana and her brother Keith co-own. The workers said that after reporting the assaults, they were subjected to retaliation and that a supervisor had made unwanted advances. The Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination handled the matter, however, the resolution specifics were not made public. The difficulties of running family-run businesses and the fine line between work obligations and personal relationships were brought to light by this debate. It becomes more complicated to run a firm with close family members, especially when there are accusations involving moral or legal issues. Being a co-owner put Diana in the spotlight, so she had to react professionally and cautiously. This showed that even those with lengthy careers in entertainment are subject to the same level of scrutiny as those in the business sector. Dina Martin's commercial activities also encompass the quickly changing cannabis sector, demonstrating her readiness to investigate new prospects while negotiating intricate regulatory frameworks. Northern Herb, a Massachusetts-based cannabis delivery service, was owned and run by her. She was charged with significant business-related offenses, including conspiracy to distribute more than 100 kilograms of marijuana, tax evasion, possession with intent to distribute, and many counts of money laundering, according to public reports from cannabis advocacy groups. According to reports, Northern Herb made over $14 million between 2015 and 2018, demonstrating the size and financial success of the business before her legal troubles. These difficulties highlight the difficulties and dangers of breaking into highly controlled fields, especially for people who are already well known due to their family history and prior achievements in entertainment. Diana's experiences in this field highlight the interplay between legality, entrepreneurship, and personal reputation, showing how even seasoned performers need to exercise caution when venturing into fields with stringent regulatory requirements. In the midst of these public disputes, Dana Martin has also utilized her position to consider family and personal issues, offering a more comprehensive glimpse into her life outside of entertainment and business. She examines her father, Dean Martin, and his relationships, especially his first marriage to Betty McDonald, in her biography, Memories Are Made of This. The book sheds light on how her mother and she dealt with the difficulties of a fractured family dynamic and the effects of her parents' divorce. Diana provides readers and viewers with a nuanced perspective of the nuances behind the celebrity image by being open about her family experiences. This shows that public personalities frequently deal with personal issues in addition to their public personas. Her thoughts offer a framework for comprehending how her background shaped her career decisions, moral principles, and handling of notoriety and controversy. De Martin respects the heritage of her father. Dean Martin's daughter, Dana Martin, looks back on her father with a great deal of appreciation and admiration. She remembers Dad as someone who was excellent at everything he did and feels privileged to be one of his 8 children. She says he was good at everything. He is simply ageless and classic. We had to share him with the world, which was okay, but that was the only drawback of having him as a father. Being Dina Martin with an A makes me very proud. Her statements acknowledge the special difficulties of growing up with a father whose life was so widely publicized, while also expressing the joy she has in belonging to a family whose patriarch was a well-liked entertainer. Indeed, Dean Martin was a versatile performer. He was a natural on TV and a gifted actor who moved between comedy and dramas with ease. For 9 seasons, The Dean Martin Show on NBC was a sophisticated, light-hearted variety show that enthralled viewers. Together with Jerry Lewis, the two became comedy royalty, attaining multi-generational fame. As a singer, Dean Martin's easy, effortless fashion added him foremost hits such as Reminiscences Are Made of This Volare and That Is Amore. His tune persisted to gain reputation even after his demise in 1995, revealing an undying enchantment that resonated with each older and more youthful listeners. Whether or not one grew up hearing All People Loves Any Individual or Ain't That a Kick Within the Head, his songs left an indelible mark on American culture. Deanna reflects on her father's vocal skills with admiration. He's the most lovely vocalist because he did make it look so smooth, she says, speaking from her home in Branson, Missouri. He labored at it goodbye and it had to do together with his enjoy and confidence and additionally a God-given excellent voice. I do not assume he were given his due for that incredible voice. Her reputation of his ability highlights both his innate talent and the determination he introduced to his craft, illustrating why he stays a cherished parent in Tune Records. Diana's personal profession started out early together with her TV debut on an episode of her father's show. Developing up surrounded by using Dean Martin and his Rat Percent colleagues, she absorbed a wealth of entertainment knowledge and vintage college showbiz savvy. It changed into part of him and a part of Uncle Frank and Uncle Sammy. She says, I was fortunate to develop up with most of these humans. Rosemary Clooney, Bobby Darin, Ella Fitzgerald, and Peggy Lee were all around me. It is in my DNA. And the way fortunate for me so that you can stay my dream every night time with suitable musicians and implausible preparations. Her upbringing amongst legendary performers truly fashioned her very own musical fashion and appreciation for live performance, giving her a unique attitude that few could mirror. Although she initially gravitated toward rock and roll, Diana ultimately became her recognition closer to the remarkable American track book and the classics her father made well known. Her early recordings, such as 1966's Moody Child I See You, were produced by Lee Hazelwood, regarded for his work with Nancy Sinatra. In current years, her albums have focused on honoring her father's legacy, inclusive of memories are manufactured from This Volare, White Christmas, Vacation Spot Moon, and Swing Street. It wasn't until my dad exceeded away that I commenced to sing the top-notch American songbook, she explains. I suppose I simply desired to listen his voice once more. So, I began being attentive to all his CDs. All of a surprising, it become like, oh my God, now I get this. The whole thing I found out from my dad and Uncle Frank and all of those human beings clicked and unexpectedly made experience. Through her work, she no longer simply celebrates her father's tune, however also guarantees that new generations can recognize the artistry and emotion embedded in those undying songs.